Nice to see you again. I'm glad you're joining me. Today, we're going to look at mastering the safety net, whether you're the seller or the buyer of a contract. And this is something that usually doesn't seem that important. We're focused on the sale price and the perfect house, and we forget about the contingency clauses. They're very, very important in your contract. So when you write up a contract, pay close attention to those, because they are very important. They protect you, they protect the buyer and the seller both. And the clauses are essential because it could allow a deal to dissolve gracefully without penalty, because if the conditions aren't met, rather than hideous issues and problems. A contingency is simply a condition that must be satisfied for the contract to become legally binding. And there's three fundamental pillars involved in this and understanding your contingencies. The first one, and they're to protect the client on both sides, is the financial contingency issues for the final loan approval, the loan contingency. This protects the buyer if the lender suddenly pulls out their commitment on what they said they were going to do as far as the loan. The appraisal contingency, the loan and the appraisal go together because the loan is going to depend upon the appraisal. They protect the buyer from overbuying, and it's very important. And we must clearly define the deadline that we're going to allow for the loan commitment and ensure the appraisal results are in. Because sometimes it's not easy. We need to know how long is it going to take me to get an appraisal, and to make sure that this falls in line with the loan commitment that we're trying to get. That's number one. That's the financing contingency. That has to be met. That can be checked off on the contract. The inspection contingency, or they sometimes call it due diligence, is the buyer's absolute right to inspect the property and uncover any defects. These defects, you have a typical period of 7 to 14 days to get this done, to get the inspections done for the home inspection. The key takeaway, though, and the power of this clause is not just the discovery, it's the remedy. Are you going to ask the sellers to make the repairs? Do you want a credit? Do you want a price reduction? Or are you going to terminate the contract if the parties cannot agree on settling how they want to do it? So the buyers need to be thorough, and the sellers need to provide disclosures up front to minimize these kind of issues. Number 3 is your title and your document review contingencies. This ensures the legal right to the property, and a cloud in the title can hold a closing permit if you're not careful. If there's something, unlisted liens, unresolved boundary disputes, unexpected easements. I've had that happen to me. We will rely on the title company to find these things. And the document review. If you're, and it's really big if you're part of an association or condos, because you have the right as a buyer to see all of those governing documents, the meetings and everything before committing. And that's a big deal. There's restrictive covenants, There could be high operating fees. It can break a purchase decision, but it needs to be provided. The conclusion to this is a negotiator has an edge here because you just found the house you really want. So now we found a few things where we need to negotiate, and we need to come to an agreement on how we're going to settle those things. And they're very common. If you don't have one, I'll be surprised. You could even have more than one. Some of the things that you can do to help, number one is the buyer could waive the inspection to make it more, or they could shorten it. Say, just give me 5 days to look. That could make a difference. I don't recommend that, but it's done sometimes. For sellers, address the issues. You know what they're going to see when they walk through there. If it's broken, fix it. If it needs painted, fix it. If it's cracked, fix it. And I recommend a pre-inspection on it yourself. Have someone come in and inspect it. We're going to find the exact, you know what they're going to bring in. And maybe the buyer's even willing to accept that inspection. Don't know, but you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you live in a house and you don't know this. So mastering the contingency clause is mastering the risk management for both sides, because both sides could be liable for lawsuits, that type of thing, for not revealing, for not telling, or whatever. But it makes everything competent and ethical in the guidance. So keep in mind those contingencies. They're in there, and most of the time, no one pays any attention to them. Realtors are the ones that are chasing after them, make sure they're getting done. In the background, you don't even know that. To make sure this is done on time, that's done on time. Is this coming in clean? Are you seeing something that's going to be a problem? And it's every day to check and see if anything's come up during the closing time. So just wanted you to know about all that. Thank you for joining me into Hollington Cuddle Banker Paradise. Any questions on this? Just leave me a message in the comments. I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you for joining me. See you again soon.